Good morning, comrades. Good morning, guerrillas. Good morning, Bogotos, Yangas, guerrillas, commanders, leadership, all protocols observed. I'm Kea Matle. This is Comrade Senzo Nkabinde. I wish to express a profound, great deal of gratitude and say to you, thank you very much for the high discipline, high moral, and professional patience and political maturity that you have exhibited and displayed during the most difficult time in our lives, where we witnessed our former glorious movement being destroyed by the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa by getting into a marriage in the form of the so-called coalition government with the child of the National Party that destroyed and killed our political forebears. We cannot, and we will not, and we shall not forget who is DA and what their fathers, political fathers, did to us as the black nation. We are very happy that some of the members of the ANC who were so hard to convince, who were doubting Thomases, they have now seen the light. They have now experienced it for themselves. And they have now realized that all what we were telling them, to the extent that Cyril Ramaphosa was deployed to destroy the ANC and to bring back the apartheid 4.0, that was nothing but the truth. We are very glad that the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa, through the formation of this coalition government, it's decampaigning itself and it's campaigning for MK. And even all those political parties that have formed part and parcel of this so-called coalition government, they have shown to their voters that they were just using them to promote themselves so that they can go into bed with our political enemies. That will boost the MK from now henceforth and going forward. They were decampaigning for themselves, and they were campaigning for MK. My MK Amahle, we are very blessed to have Ubaba to guide us and to lead us as a true father of the nation and the father of the continent. It was very painful to witness the ANC taking our country, our resources, back to the hands of the people that killed our forefathers, to dispossess them and us of our land. It was very painful to see the ANC signing a final deal that will destroy all the political policies and program of the founding fathers, our forebearers who thought and created the ANC to be the liberation movement for the black natives of this country. However, ladies and gentlemen, that bears testimony to what we've been warning everyone about when we told you that Cyril Ramaphosa was deployed as an agent propagandist, as a rent-seeking political puppet and a proxy of the Western colonial and the Western imperial slave masters. to destroy the ANC and to help the white people to take back our country and our resources. The DA coalition is nothing but the reincarnation, the rebirth of the apartheid, which is now apartheid 4.0, which is the neo apartheid, the new form of apartheid government, where the black people will pursue and implement all the apartheid programs and policies under the disguise of the coalition government. Those people who voted for IFP, PA, and DA, who thought that it was genuinely caring, or those political parties were genuinely caring for the black people, including those people who voted ANC, they have now seen these political parties for who and what they are. But we are very grateful that, on the other hand, people are now becoming aware and becoming very clear of ukuthi ubaba ungubani. This political brainwash by the Western imperial medias and broadcasting house, which defined ubaba in a very negative way, is now losing its base. Most young, vibrant, and old, matured South Africans, they now see that the media was pushing a certain propaganda to brainwash them to hate Ubaba, and now they are heartful with that and they're saying enough is enough. We are grateful that Ubaba has mapped out and threshed out a strategy that will help us to win back our country. It is exciting, Ma'am Kiamatle, that you are all aware that from now on, the MK will go back to the National Assembly to pursue a fight that will be both inside out. We are going to fight the system inside the system at the National Assembly, but at the very same time, we will fight the system outside the National Assembly through the legal means. And if both of that fails, we will be left with no choice not to flee, not to run away, not to submit, but to fight. Our fight is primarily based on the peaceful means. Hence, like Ubaba said, we are going to follow a rolling mass action, which is going to be threshed out by all political parties that are pro-black, which are going to have meetings with Ubaba to discuss and thresh out and map out a program of action that we must all follow. That program of action will be primarily be based on peaceful protest, which among others might include some form of picketing, some form of national shutdown, but I don't want to preempt the decisions, the details and the decisions in that regard. And ladies and gentlemen, it is very exciting that Ubaba has announced ukuthi the MK is going back to the electoral court to challenge the decision that was made by the IEC to declare the result while there is floods and tsunamis of evidence of fraud, procedural irregularities, malfeasance, and violation of the IEC rules and unconstitutional conduct, both on the part of the ANC, on the part of the president, on the part of the IEC. It is against this backdrop, ladies and gentlemen, that we must rally together and support MK and all those political parties that will be joining forces later and come on board as co-applicants or as the amicus curiae in these applications. Let me clarify this, ladies and gentlemen. There are two applications that have been brought to the Electoral Court, which both these applications are challenging the decision of the Electoral Court to declare the elections in spite of 576 objections. One application was filed by the ATM on the 13th of June, and the other application was filed by MK on the 14th of June. There is a probability that the Electoral Court might decide that since both these applications are pertaining to the same issue, maybe it might be in the best interest to have them heard simultaneously and have the MK and the ATM directed to join their application and come to the court on the same day and present their case against the IEC, Cyril Ramaphosa, and all other respondents. However, that will remain to be at the discretion of the Electoral Court. It is very exciting, my Mkemahle, that Ubaba has now made it a certainty. He has assured us that MK Party will be approaching the international courts or the UN Human Rights Committee to appeal against the decision of the Constitutional Court. That has never been done before. And this is another way of being blessed to have a leadership of magnitude of President Jacob Zuma that is always trend setting, that will establish a leading and a milestone and a landmark legal precedence for us to follow going forward. And we are very excited to know that Ubaba has now instructed the attorneys to begin to prepare the paperwork for the drafting of such a case and lodge it with the international courts. And in addition to that, comrades, please enjoy yourself. Buy yourself cold drink, juice, and popcorns, and sit in a sofa or a couch and watch this political circus of the ANC DA coalition appointing themselves and giving themselves interim MPs position and interim ministerial portfolios, as well as the provincial legislatures. It is a political circus that will soon come to an end. They are not going to blackmail us by wasting the taxpayers' money and expect that they're going to use that as an argument in court. You don't break the law and then you spend a lot of money and say, yes, I might have broken the law, but I've spent a lot of taxpayers' money doing 1, 2, 3. No. In legal terms, there's something that is called poisonous, the fruit of the poisonous tree. So anything that has been done by someone who has broken the law, that thing become the fruit of the poisonous tree. So they cannot use money as a defense in the court of law to say, but hey, we've spent a lot of money and then rerunning the elections is going to cost us a lot of money. No, that won't stand. We're not going to fall for it. We are very lucky that we are, through Baba, we are exposing the corruption at the constitutional level, at the ANC level, and at the DA level, and as well as at the IEC level. What the DA and the ANC and the IEC has done with the forming the false or the pretentious or the pseudo or the fallacious coalition government and falsely framing it as a government of national unity, they have shown the beloved electorates and voters who voted them, trusting them, that actually their agenda is not about the voters, it's about themselves, positioning themselves and pushing the agenda of the Western imperial and colonial forces. So, comrades, in so doing, they were decampaigning themselves and they were campaigning for MK. There is no way that the rerun of this election is not going to take place. In the event that the Constitutional Court play into the gallery and become the friends of the Western imperial agenda, which is implemented via the DA-ANC coalition and rule against the MK, we are going to await the decision of the international courts and international judicial forum such as the UN Human Rights Committees. And in the event, only in the event that the decisions of the international courts do not favor us, we will have no choice but to begin to use forceful measures to get back our land and to put these political mafias out of governing our lives. It will depend on the conditions that obtains at the time. If it is necessary to use other means other than non-violent means, we will consider doing such. But for now, let's only focus on non-violent means until the situation compels us to do so. We are going to unite as a nation through the leadership yakababa, working together with the with the political parties that are pro-black economic liberation to guide us on the rolling mass actions that we must be part and parcel of in fighting for our country and our resources and our land and our economic freedom. Enough is enough, my MK Amatle. We are not going to be bystanders and stand aside and look and watch Cyril Ramaphosa and his political gangsters and mafias in the form of ANC-DA imposing themselves to govern our lives against our wishes. If we tolerate this and we let this continue unabated, unstopped, they will forever take advantage of us. We were very willing and obedient during the COVID-19 era, but we realize that they are now pushing us way too far. We are slowly losing the patience. But be that as it may, it will never again happen that Cyril Ramaphosa will be the president of this country. Never. And it is our duty, our roles, our responsibilities to rally together and see to it that we bring back Ubaba Ungqamalala as the president of South Africa against all odds, whether they like it or whether they want it or they are against it, it doesn't matter. Ubaba uzobuya and he will be the president of this country again. The Lula moment of the president of Brazil is going to happen in South Africa very soon. Amandla.